I want to take the opportunity to welcome everyone to this week's virtual drasha. I'd like to begin by thanking Dr. Linda Weinberg for dedicating this week's drasha in commemoration of the 41st yahrzeit of her father-in-law, Alan Weinberg, Aaron David ben Pesach Meir, and the 38th yahrzeit of her mother, Ray Levin, Rivka Bas Shaps. So we hope that in the merit of our Talmud Torah, the Neshamas will have an aliyah and the family a nechama. We have the incredible privilege this week to read the parashos of Vayakel Pekudei, followed by Parshas HaChodesh. And of course, Vayakel Pekudei are like the sister parashos of Truma Tetzaveh. That whereas Truma Tetzaveh told us about the instructions for building the Mishkan, fabricating all of the utensils, creating the Kohanic vestments, the parashos of Vayakel Pekudei speak about the execution of those details. First, we're told what has to be done, and in these parashos, we're told actually about how the details were executed, to the point that by the time Parashas Pekudei finishes, we have a fully stocked, a fully built Mishkan with all of the necessary utensils. The Kohanim have their requisite Kohanic garments, and we see Klal Yisrael entering into a different stage, nestled in the midst of these details. The Torah tells us in Perek Mem Pasuk Chav, chapter 40, verse 20, Vayikach vayiten es ha'edus vayasem ela Aron, vayasem es habadim ala Aron, vayiten es hakaparos ala Aron milamala. Straightforward pasuk. Torah tells us the ark, the Aron, was finished, was completed. Moshe Rabbeinu takes the tablets, the luchos, the tablets that he brought down with him from Har Sinai, and he placed them inside of the ark. He then subsequently went, put the poles in the sides of the ark, the staves used for carry the ark, and then he placed the lid on top of the ark. Pretty straightforward verse. Comes along the Targum Yonasan, Rabbi Yonasan ben Uziel, an Aramaic commentary on the Torah, and he writes the following. He adds in a piece of information. He says, yes, the first part of his explanation is the same. Moshe took the tablets, he put them inside of the ark, and then the Targum Yonasan says something amazing. V'tavrei luchaya ba'arona. And Moshe Rabbeinu placed the broken tablets inside the ark as well. Broken tablets. So remember again, we know the story. Last week's parasha, Moshe Rabbeinu comes down from Har Sinai, comes down from Mount Sinai, sees the Jewish people have built a golden calf. He throws down the luchos. He throws down the tablets. They're shattered in pieces. The Gemara tells us that Moshe Rabbeinu didn't just leave it on the ground. He gathered up the pieces. What did he do with the pieces? So the Targum Yonasan says he placed the pieces, the shards, the broken pieces of the first set of tablets along in the ark alongside the second set of tablets. Remember again, then later on Moshe Rabbeinu goes back up, comes back down with another second set of tablets. So the pasuk makes reference to the fact that Moshe Rabbeinu put the second set of tablets inside of the ark. Targum Yonasan adds in, by the way, Moshe Rabbeinu also put in the first set of broken tablets in the ark as well. And the question is obvious. Why doesn't the verse tell us that? Why doesn't the verse mention that? So maybe you'll say to yourself, well, you know what? The Torah doesn't get into every single detail, but that's not true. If you look at the parashos of Truma and Tetzaveh, Vayakel Pekudei, every last detail is articulated. We know every measurement to the last cubit. We know exactly what type of materials were used, how they were used, who utilized them, the amount of materials, which we know every detail. So if you're already telling me every detail, why not also go ahead and tell me that the that the first set of broken tablets were placed in the ark as well? Why was that piece of information omitted? And to compound the question a little bit, but to begin our journey towards the answer, when we look at the contrast between the first set of tablets and the second set of tablets, it's quite stark. The Gemara Maseches Eruvin writes, "Ilmale lo nishtar b'luchos harishonos." If the first set of tablets would not have been broken, Torah would have never been forgotten. In other words, the first set of luchos, the first set of tablets had such incredible holiness that had they not been broken, we would have learned and retained everything we learned. Who could imagine such a thing like this? Can you imagine retaining every single thing that you learn? The forgetfulness that we sometimes experience even with our learning is a result that we didn't get the first set of tablets. We only got the second one. The Medrash points out the obvious distinction. The first set of tablets were written by God. The second set of tablets dictated by God, but written by Moshe Rabbeinu. The first set of tablets were highly superior to the second set of tablets. And again, even the first set of tablets were broken. Targum Yonasan is telling us that they're included in the ark. They're put inside. But then comes along the Ibn Ezra. And the Ibn Ezra says something amazing. He says, Ki ashniyim nichbade meharishonim. Not true. The second set of tablets were better than the first. What does this mean? The second set of tablets were better than the first. We just saw the Gemara. We just saw the Medrash that indicated the idea that the first set of tablets were much holier than the second. So what does the Ibn Ezra say? The Ibn Ezra articulates some ideas, but perhaps what the Ibn Ezra is teaching us is something amazing. Do you know why the second set of tablets were holier than the first? Because the second set of tablets were what we had. You see, in life, you have a choice. A person could focus and pine and perseverate on what was, what should be, and what could be, or a person could focus on what is. Sometimes life doesn't go my way. Sometimes circumstances don't play out the way I thought they would. So you have a choice in those moments. You can go ahead and again be upset. And you could go ahead and dream about, again, what could have, should have, would have been. Or you could say, you know what, these are my circumstances. This is what it is now. This is what life is right now. Instead of wasting all of my emotional and mental and spiritual energy pining and yearning for what could have, should have, would have been, I'm going to focus on maximizing what I have now. The Ibn Ezra says, you could give me a million reasons why the first set of tablets were better than the second. But at the end of the day, the second were better. Do you know why? Because those are the tablets we have. And if those are the tablets we have, then by definition, those are the best. If that's what you've got, then that ultimately, again, is the best. If that's what you have, then that is what you must maximize. You know, there's a beautiful insight. There's a beautiful insight by the Baal Shem Tov HaKadosh. The Baal Shem Tov writes on the Pasuk in Tehillim, chapter 71, verse 9, Al tashlicheni le'es zikna, a very powerful pasuk. Do not cast me away in my old age. Le'es zikna. And again, we all understand that. Whether we understand it because we're old, or whether we understand it because we have elderly parents or elderly friends, we know how vulnerable we become when we get old. And we say, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, don't cast me away when I get old. Don't throw me away. And the Baal Shem Tov HaKadosh says, no, it means something different. Al tashlicheni le'es zikna means, don't let me live in the past. Don't cast me to the past. Don't let me get stuck in the past. So many times in life, we get stuck on what was. Sometimes it happens that I make a mistake, and maybe that mistake changed the trajectory of my life. There are mistakes like that. And sometimes a person can't get over the mistake. I can't get over what I did wrong, or sometimes I miss an opportunity. And you know what, in retrospect, it was a great opportunity, and I let it slip through my fingers. And I'm so angry at myself. I'm so upset at myself. So I can't stop thinking about that missed opportunity. I can't stop thinking about the missed opportunity. I can't stop thinking about the mistakes of my past. And what does it get me? Where does it get me? And the answer is nothing and nowhere. Al tashlichini le'ez zikna. Ribono shel olam, allow me to learn from my past, to grow from my past. But don't let me get stuck in my past. Do you know why the Torah never mentions the first set of luchos? Why the Torah never mentions that the first set of tablets were put in the ark? Because it doesn't matter. Because at the end of the day, it just doesn't matter. Because if the Torah would have started a conversation about the first set of tablets, it would have been, the first set of tablets, can you imagine had we not built the Egel? Can you imagine this? Can you imagine that? Moshe Rabbeinu, what we lost out on, we would have never forgotten. It was written by the hand of God. And yearn and pine and reflect and get stuck in the past and fail to maximize what was. You see, HaKadosh Baruch Hu does not mention the first set of tablets because he does not want us thinking about that. Instead, what he wants us to think about is not the tablets that we almost had, but how to maximize the tablets we do have. You have the second luchos. You have them now. They're in your hand. Don't spend your life with comparisons. Don't spend your life reflecting on what could have, should have, would have been. But focus on maximizing what is right now. And now you have the luchos. Now you have the second luchos. They weren't written by God. They were written by Moshe. We forget even when we learn them. It's true. But this is what you've got. And if this is what you have, then at the end of the day, this is what you must maximize. The Torah never mentions the first set of luchos because there's no point. and spending your mental energy reflecting and thinking about what was or what could have been. Instead, focus on maximizing what there is now. And I think this is such an incredibly profound lesson for us as well. We all make mistakes. We all make wrong turns. And I would venture to say that most of us miss out on opportunities. Many of us miss out on a lot of opportunities. And it's important to reflect, and it's important to think about your past, and it's important to think about the things that went wrong in order that I don't repeat them in the future. But we have to heed the Baal Shem Tov's advice. Al tashlichini le'ez zikna. It's important to grow from your past and to reflect on your past. But it's important not to get stuck in your past. Al tashlichini le'ez zikna. Don't let me wind up tethered to the past, because then I'll lose out on the opportunity to maximize my present. Or to state a little bit differently, all of us have broken tablets. We all have broken tablets. We have the broken tablets of shattered dreams. We have the broken tablets of unmaterialized goals and aspirations. We have the broken tablets of frayed relationships. We have the broken tablets of missed opportunities. And inside of my ark are my broken tablets, because I take them with me everywhere I go, because I have to learn from them. But HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, I don't want you paying attention to those. Because inside of our personalistic ark is also our second set of tablets. Those are the opportunities of now. Those are the circumstances of the present. Those are the dreams that I have to dream. Those are the goals that I have to make. Those are the aspirations that I have to begin to conjure up. So of course you bring your broken tablets with you wherever you go. But HaKadosh Baruch Hu says you can look at them, learn from them, grow from them, but don't focus on them. We're not talking about them. Instead, put your focus and put your energies on your second luchos. Don't spend your life worrying about what was, what could have, what should have, but focus on maximizing your circumstances. Focus on maximizing your present life. Focus on making the most of your luchos shnios, of your second set of tablets. Wishing everyone a wonderful day, a good Erev Shabbos, and a beautiful Shabbos Kodesh.